Ahoy hoy folks, good morning, good afternoon, good evening wherever you are in the world. My name's Sean, aka Uncle Frogface, and welcome to today's video. If you're new here, then welcome. If you're not new, then welcome back. And if you're not new, you'll know that this video has been on the cards for at least a month. It was supposed to be done in October, but with everything else that was going on, it just fell by the wayside, but I wanted to pick up as soon as possible. So this is Monster Bash, specifically Monster Bash 3. So if you haven't seen Monster Bash, basically there's a set of cards and you flick through, you pick out random cards and you use those to create a monster. This is my second Monster Bash. I did it for the first time last year and I absolutely loved it. So if you don't remember, if you haven't seen the video, I will link up here, one way. But this is what we created last time. And this year we are going bigger and better. So we need to get cracking. First thing we need to do is get planning. So I mentioned those cards. I actually played the video and just took screenshots as it was playing, and these are the cards we ended up with. So first thing I went ahead and did is just did a very quick sketch of kind of what I wanted to do, and then got straight into sculpting. So wanted to start with just a base armature, and that white thing that you can see there is a pre-baked bit of polymer clay. It's a super sculpty soft over a piece of tin foil just to give me a basic rough shape. And then I'm just going in with super sculpty medium and sculpting out the very first part, which is that what's it called? Armadillo. That's it, an armadillo shell. So I'm going to link down below all the people who are doing the official Monster Bash this year. There's some amazing creations. I've already gone through and watched all of them. They are brilliant. And this is just my attempt, my little bit of fun. I really enjoy doing this. Once I've kind of gone through and got this covered and got the basic armadillo shell piece, it's just now a case of going through and texturing everything. So I'm using the back of this spoon tool, it's kind of a little gouge, just to make these little triangle indentations which are on the shells. And I'm coming in with ball styluses of different sizes and just tapping down. Funnily enough, this is also how I do hammered metal as well, but for some reason it works for this shell as well. Who knew armadillos and hammered metal had so much in common? But you can see I'm just going to go ahead and do that all over the whole shell. And then for the legs of this, we have those insecty legs. I'm just cutting out 6 leg holes, so I already know what I'm going to do in my head. I haven't really planned it out properly, and honestly I'm just winging this. The best way to go with sculptures. So I gave that a quick bake. You can see we've got those pins in the bottom there. Those were to kind of keep it elevated and so that I can sculpt on the bottom. So these are the bases of all of the legs, and it's just like a tear-shaped piece of clay that I've squished into place and then used the ball stylus in the end. And then you can see we've got all 6, and it kind of looks like the bottom of a millipede or you know, those kind of shell insects. Next I want to put the eyes in. You know, here we had, what was it, 7 eyes. So I'm just going to pop those in very quickly, glued down with liquid Sculpey. There we go, those are all in place now. And now I want to get that very unique looking mouth, very weird mouth, and I'm just going to sculpt this straight on the form, kind of get the shape that I want, and then pinch it all into place. You can see it's kind of coming together there. And once I'm happy with that, I'm just going to glue that in place. There we go. So there's also a bottom jaw, which I forgot to film because I just forget sometimes. There we go. Kind of looks like Grandpa Buck. So whilst that is all baking in the oven, I thought I'd go ahead and get started on the legs. So this is the middle section of the legs. So we've got the base actually on the body, we've got the middle section, and then the end sections I will do later. This is not baking yet. I've baked it all after I did these parts. So you can see I'm making a little ball at one end and a little indentation with a ball stylus on the other end, and that kind of gives it a bit of swivel, and it means that I can orient the bug kind of how I want it to be. And looking at the cards that we got a few random ones. So the fur one I really liked, so that's all going off to bake now. The moon and stars is kind of, I'm using that more as a colour scheme and general theme. And then the ballet shoes. I mean, sure, ballet shoes, why not? There we are, all baked up. You can see this is what I meant about that being a ball in a socket. It means it can be posed however I want it to be. Now, I need to make the end parts of the legs now, the bit with the ballet shoe on there. So I should probably sketch that out. So I've had my little initial sketch already, but I wanted to kind of have more of a plan to go along. So this is what I've come up with. And you can see we've got that ballet shoe on the end, but I've also separated the toes a bit more like a bug leg. So whilst I'm doing this, I wanted to say that not too long ago, I said that if I got to 500 subscribers, I would sing a song. And we're actually very close to 500 subscribers. I'm surprised we got there that quickly. We're less than 20 away now. So thank you everyone for subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed already, now's a perfect time to do that. Subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any videos in the future. I'm also running a bit of a competition at the moment. I will leave a link to that video down below. Now it's time to do some milliput sculpting. So it's a two-part epoxy sculpting. You smash them together and you get this little chewing gum thing. This is all happening while the bottom parts of the legs are in the oven and baking. So you can see I've got that little tray full of little bits of clay. Those are the teeth that I also pre-baked. Did that whilst I was doing the main body. And all I'm doing, so milliput, because it's an epoxy clay, also quite good at gluing things into place as well. So I kind of smash it into the bottom, give it a little bit of texture, and then I am just pushing teeth in. You can see I've done that on the top as well. So this takes 4 hours to dry. And once it's dry, it is absolutely rock solid. I've also put some lids on all of those eyes as well. We've pushed some of the teeth back into place. And then a little bit of texture under the chin as well, just with the little bit of leftover. Oh, so I feel like I'm having PTSD with this bit. So I needed to glue this all together, and you can see I've already pre-painted the mouth and the teeth, because once this is glued together it's going to be impossible to do that afterwards. So I thought I'd do that before the fact, and I'm just going to use super glue and glue this into place. Nice, easy, really simple part, and it worked very well, as you'll see. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, because I might cry, but that literally takes seconds to bond into place. And I've got a stack of post-it notes and a bit of foil just to get the body in the position that I want, and then I'm gluing all the leg pieces into place. And brilliant idea, right? Just means that I can pose it how I want it to be, put all the legs in the right direction. Super glue glues very quickly, as you can see. You know, that's it, it's now in place. I'm going to go through and glue all of these into position. And then do exactly the same with the bottom parts of the legs. Simple as. Except it wasn't quite that simple. They kept falling apart. They stuck to the post-it notes. They wouldn't stay in position. I actually left this and came back to it the next day because it was driving me mad. Tried to glue it again, it wasn't working. I then used a trick from Terran, which is baking soda and super glue, and it sets super quick, and that eventually worked. But whilst I did that, had a massive glue spill all over my lovely silicone mat. Tried to clean it up, tore the mat, so RIP mat, but eventually it did work. Here you can see that there's still some baking powder on it, just brushing it off. But this is now absolutely rock solid, and I will definitely be using this in the future. It just worked. I loved it. So we've still got a little bit more sculpting to do with milliput. So these are the joints between all of the legs and a couple more bits. So all I'm doing here, little sausages of milliput, pushing it into place, and then giving a little bit of texture with one of the kind of stainless steel dental tools that I have. There we go. Now we just have to do that on all of them. And I would need to do the kind of knuckle parts, the bits between the middle part and the top bits of the legs. All done. And I've also done that join on the jaw as well. So I also added some spikes using the rest of the milliput. Those little on point feet at the front just make me laugh. And finally we are onto the painting section. So I already decided I wanted to go for a very dark blue colour scheme on this to have that kind of twilight nighttime feel. So I'm coming in with a base coat of black and blue, and these are just my cheapest acrylic paints. Nothing fancy here at all. I'm just coming in and covering the whole thing so I've got a base layer to work from, and I'm going to leave this to dry for a fair amount of time. And there we go. This actually had 1.5 coats. I did 1 coat and then came in again and just touched up some areas. So now I am coming in with a very watered down black, and this will sink into all of those cracks and crevices, and then I can just blot off the excess, and then it leaves all of the shadows in the dark places, which I love. It's brilliant thing. And now I'm dry brushing, so barely any paint on the brush at all. I'm just coming over, sweeping over some areas, brushing that back as well. I just want the very faintest highlight. This again brings out lots of texture, so the place that you'll see this coming up really well is on the shell, just here. See, all of that work on that texturing, this is where that pays off. It really makes it pop. Then once that is dry, it's time for some of the details. So I want all of the joints to be this much brighter blue. So actually it's the same blue that we use for our dry brushing, just applied more liberally, so it looks like a different shade. Also going to do the eyes in the same colour. And put these little kind of lace marks. I figured these were just like the markings that this creature would have. They look like the shoelaces on a pair of ballet pumps. Last little bits now. So we still have the fur and we still have the stars. So the colour scheme kind of gives that nighttime feel, that twilight feel. This is some black fabric that I have in my fabric stash for sewing. And I'm just using some Fabri-Tac glue, which is a brilliant glue, and I've cut this into little strips and I'm just gluing it into place between the legs, and it gives this nice fluffy underside, kind of reminiscent of a tarantula. Now for those stars, these are the cheapest pound shop sticky gems, and I'm just sticking them all over, and I figured that this creature kind of has diamonds on its skin that maybe people might risk their lives to harvest. I said we were going bigger and bolder a few times there where I didn't think we'd make it to the end, but here we are, all finished, and those crystals on there, I can't tell if you can see it very well on there, but they really catch the light. They're very sparkly. So here we are. This is the Twilight Dancer. And it is going to go up on my shelf if there's space for it. It's quite big compared to last year's. Look at the size difference. But this now is going to live up here. Can't wait for Monster Bash 4. It is one of my highlights of the year. I have so much fun doing it. But yeah, and Tinkerbell, by the way, hates this. All through the build, every time she came into the office at various stages, she would try to attack it. She really dislikes it. So we'll see how long it lasts with Tinkerbell around. She's actually right here at the moment giving the side eye. But anyway, I really hope you've enjoyed today's video, and until next time, goodbye.